Ben McKee, Rob Lewis here for your full court press following Tennessee's 76-63 win over number 4 Kentucky here at Thompson-Boling Arena on Tuesday night. Rob, story of the game to me is Jonas Adu and Kennedy Chandler.
Yeah, I won't disagree with that. I'll throw Fulkerson in there too. 14 points.
Zakai had big moments as well.
18 rebounds. I mean, I think Tennessee really needed Fulke, but boy, Kennedy Chandler, said after the game that he took this one personal after the way he played in Lexington, the way the team played in Lexington. And it looked that way early. He had 15 points in the first half. It's really slowed down in the second half, but he set the tone in the first half when Tennessee jumped out to that 14-point lead at halftime. And Jonas Adu, what can you say? The kid gets his first SEC action of the year like 10 days ago at South Carolina. He plays 2 minutes. He plays 18 minutes tonight against Kentucky, against Oscar Schwebe. And Tennessee is plus 18 in those 18 minutes he's on the floor. 7 points. 7 rebounds, 3 blocked shots. That to me is a kid that, to say that he's demanding more playing time is an understatement.
Yes, I think it is safe to say that you will see plenty of him at Arkansas this Saturday. In terms of speaking about it from a team perspective, I thought rebounding, although they got out-rebounded 40-32, they dominated Kentucky on the glass in the first half. That kind of flipped there in the second half. Because Tennessee was missing more shots, but Tennessee did a good enough job on the glass and the transition defense, transition offense, which is night and day.
And even when they didn't do a great job on the glass, Kentucky still got, 18 rebounds to 6. You've got the stat sheet there. I believe that's what it was. Yep. If you told me that pregame, I would have said, well, Tennessee's in for a long night.
Yes.
But they just guarded. Even if they didn't close out the possession with a defensive rebound, they just guarded. Kentucky shot 34% tonight. That's exactly half of the number they put up in Rupp Arena at 68%. Kentucky came in as the leading scoring team in the SEC at 78 points per game, the best shooting team in the SEC at 48% per game. Tennessee holds them 14 points below their scoring average and 12% below their shooting average. Just hats off to the defense.
Yes, and there's this conversation amongst Tennessee fans about Kennedy Chandler, Zakai Ziegler, because Kennedy's a projected one and done. But I think that conversation needs to stop, and the conversation needs to be that Tennessee has 2 of the best true freshman point guards in the country. They're playing terrific basketball as March is 2 weeks away.
And I agree with that, and I would up the ante and say they got 3 of the best guards in the SEC with Santiago. And and Josiah can sometimes be the best player in the court.
Yep.
And tonight, if I'm not mistaken, I think Ziegler, Kennedy, and Santiago combined for 49 points.
Yep.
And Tennessee's going to be tough to beat when those 3 guys do that or come close to doing that.
Yeah, and it didn't even really feel like Santi or Josiah did much tonight.
No, Josiah was in foul trouble all night long.
Yep.
I just don't think he ever got in the rhythm.
And the mark of a great player is when you drop 16 points, 18 points, you're 2 of 4 from 3, and it doesn't feel like you did anything.
No, he was just steady all night long. He never had the spurts. Like Kennedy had that one spurt in the first half where he beats the shot clock with a crazy shot, then hits back-to-back threes that really kind of jump-started things. But Santiago was just steady. He didn't have any of those flurries. He dropped in a couple open threes. He made some great cuts without the basketball to free himself up for layups. That I know Kennedy found him with a couple. And you're right. It just never felt. If you just watched that game and I asked you who was the leading scorer, you'd probably say, "Oh, Chandler."
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. Tennessee had won 7 straight SEC games coming into tonight, but no really season-defining wins, and I wrote about it, contenders or pretenders, because of that streak and no real names on the winning streak. Tonight proved that Tennessee is a contender the rest of the way.
They just took care of business. They might have beaten one NCAA tournament team in that with Florida, but I don't know. That's iffy. That's a maybe at best. And but they just took care of business against the teams they were supposed to take care of business. This was a heavyweight fight tonight, and they took it to Kentucky. There was no doubt. There wasn't anything fluky about it. They roasted the Wildcats.
Yep, and now Tennessee has beaten 2 of Joe Lunardi's top 4 projected number 1 seeds, Arizona, Kentucky.
As of this recording, Joe has already dropped the Cats and moved the Vols up to the 3 line.
Wow, that is impressive. And Tennessee's moved up to tied for second in the SEC. And Arkansas did win tonight, so Arkansas a game back, and things have gotten really tight at the top of the SEC. But a month to the day after Tennessee is embarrassed in Lexington, Tennessee comes back with a 13-point win over Kentucky, a statement win that they needed.
And I'll tell you, Ben, did you not feel this way with Kentucky? Tennessee's up 14 at the break. It takes Kentucky a little more than 6 minutes to cut it to single digits. It's 51-43. I didn't think Tennessee was necessarily going to lose. I was just like, all right, it's going to be a dogfight.
Yes.
Coming in. And Kentucky cut it to 8. Tennessee answered with a 12-2 run pushes the lead back to 20 like that's the sign of a mentally tough team right there.
And one last thing to touch on, I know we're running a little bit long, but I think this deserves attention. It's time to start talking about Thompson-Boling Arena as one of the best, most elite college basketball atmospheres in the entire country.
I agree. When it's like it is tonight, it is big time. I think the difference is sometimes at Allen Fieldhouse or sometimes at Kansas, it will be that way for, when Oklahoma comes to town and they're not ranked.
When Vanderbilt comes to town.
Vanderbilt, but when it's like this tonight, I've been a lot of places. I've been to Allen Fieldhouse. I've been to the Dean Dome. It's those places do not top the environment that you saw in here tonight. It was rocking, and Rick Barnes went out of his way to acknowledge that after the game.
And I think it's the third time this year that the crowd has helped Tennessee win. Arizona, LSU, and Kentucky tonight by 13 points. He's Rob Lewis. I'm Ben McKee.